Okay, and we have four of you guys on right now. Instagram Live, we are also on. Sorry for the delay. There is just a lot of things going on in the interweb. And thank you guys for being patient. This was some very interesting workaround situation that I had to do. So
made it happen though.
Ooh. Hi everyone, it's your girl Patrice, and I have with me one of my best friends, and also I'm going to read, I kind of sort of made like this cute little bio for you that was based off of your, it's, okay, anyway, no, really, hang on. Okay. Now I have to pull all these other things together, guys. I just did not expect my whole makeshift thing to actually work. Hello everyone. I'm like, whoa. Okay, let me minimize some windows. There's just a lot going on, kids. There's a lot going on. Okay, wow. Wait a minute. Let's see. So yeah, if you're watching this, hit the like button on this video just so I know that you are here and that we can give you a shout out. And as we continue this conversation, if you guys have any questions for either of us, specifically though for Bethany, please type your questions in the comments below. And hang on, I'm still getting my life together. And so I think you guys, this might become, like a podcasty casual thing. I mean, this is what you do in quarantine. You just, things just start, doing the things. And we're doing some of the things right now. But anyway, I was just about to introduce Bethany Mossburg-Jennings, who is a content strategist and editor at Bethel Church in Redding, California. She's also one of my favorite worship leaders that you probably don't know about just yet. She studied organizational management and leadership at Simpson University. She's originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she's married to the lovely Ben Jennings as well. Shout out to Ben, who's a real one. He's a real one.
Real MVP.
And you guys can internet stalk her on Instagram, on Facebook. I'll share more throughout this interview where you can find her. But yeah, I love her. And how did we meet again, Bethany?
We met in an Applebee's with Nick and Kyle Moon, and we were sat next to each other.
Shout out to
Nick and Kyle.
And Kyle Moon. I feel like whoever's watching this knows them. Doesn't matter who you are and where you are
Probably
on the planet.
True.
Whether
Probably
you're
true.
in Alaska or if you are, it doesn't matter. You know them.
Fiji, Guam. I'm sure you know them.
You somehow know them. But yeah, we met there in Redding, California. How many years ago?
After church. It was at the end of my first year. So it would have been 9 or 10 years ago. It's a long time.
Isn't that crazy? Hi, Becca. Want to give a shout out to Becca who's watching. Hello. Glad you could join us for a little bit. And again, we just have people pop in and out, no pressure to stay for the whole, 45 minutes or however long we end up just hanging out and chatting. But I just want you guys to get encouraged and kind of hear a little bit about Bethany. And then just, again, she was already dropping some wisdom nuggets before we were on. So you might just catch, if you catch a wisdom nugget, you can put hashtag wisdom nugget or something in the comment. And if you watch this on replay, which we have a ton of people that usually watch these on replay, just holler back in the comments on replay too, because I appreciate that. And we can give you some love afterwards, after this interview's over. Okay, so can you tell us, Bethany, how did you get to Bethel? What was your journey? You're originally from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. How did you get from Pittsburgh all the way to Redding,
California?
And specifically to Bethel?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I grew up in a church where, there was kind of this understanding that Jesus was a part of your life, but not the reason you live. It was just a little bit of a catch that didn't hit me. Maybe it was taught and I just didn't pick it up, but for whatever reason, there was just something missing, and I knew it and I could feel it. And I just kind of started crying out and asking God for more. And then our church had a major like changeover in staffing, like within the course of a 6-month window of time. And inside of that window of time, some pastors showed up who were from California, and they were these like really wild Holy Spirit people. And we had like it was kind of like holy who, like guy in the Bible, maybe runs around on a sheet. I don't really know.
Can you explain that for like our friends that like
absolutely
in faith and that are in faith?
No, for sure. So basically, the Holy Spirit is the living, breathing presence of God in your daily life, in every moment of your day, and every decision you make, every thought that you have. And there's kind of this invitation to walk more intimately with God through the Holy Spirit. But then there's also kind of a way of approaching Christianity that's very like, these are some really good guiding principles to live by. And these are some really great teachings that we were given. And so we abide by these, but not necessarily an intimate daily connection with God himself, like speaking to the creator of the universe. And I could feel that, like I could feel that presence when we were in worship, and I grew up with parents who were musicians and knew there was more to this, and just kind of was on a little bit of a quest. So when those pastors came in, they also brought youth pastors with them who basically were very similar in the same space, and basically just kind of started to encounter God, experience a presence that I couldn't really put my finger on, that wasn't logical, didn't make a ton of sense, but I felt a greater sense of peace. I felt a greater sense of wisdom. I felt like there was a guiding hand that was starting to step into my life in a way that I hadn't experienced before in my understanding of God. And basically that hunger kind of grew and led me into some interesting spaces where, it was going to a worship school that Rita Springer taught when it was like 10 of us having dinner at her house and asking questions. And that woman did some really valuable things to my life and ruined a lot of really important infrastructures that I had that needed to be, broken, because that's real. We have all got those.
Ooh.
And just kind of shook that up in me and really solidified that hunger. And so I just started to kind of like look around for, where did that hunger exist? Where were people going after that same kind of thing? Because there's a new drum beat and I want to find where I sync up. And over time I found Bethel music and was like, okay, well, this is kind of more my vibe. They take a lot of time. There was this one worship set that was on Bethel TV where the worship leader, after like 10 minutes, he stopped the set in this moment where like the music had come down and it was just quiet for like a full minute. And I was like, oh, in most churches, you don't, no silence, please. Transition, quick, move it. Let's go, keep people going. Yeah, exactly. And so, and out of that moment came, people singing their own songs to God. And it was like 6 minutes of them singing their own songs to God. And I was like, where is a place that makes room for that? Who does that?
Yeah.
Who makes room for that kind of thing? And how do I get there? So I decided to do Bethel Music's worship school thing, which was called worship school. I think at the time it was 3 weeks long. It has changed over the years and grown, and this was in 2010. And I flew out, and basically at the very end of that time that I was there, I was only able to stay for a week because I couldn't take off of work longer. But at the end of that, there was a set, and you put that fleece out before the Lord, that concept of like, I have questions and I don't know if I'm supposed to move here. And I it's a huge jump. Everybody in my family lives on the Eastern Seaboard, like literally every single person. I have no family on the West Coast, and no grid for it. And I love my hometown. Like, why would I leave? But there's this burning, so I started asking these questions, and basically, I was like, okay, Lord, like if he plays this one song, I'll know it's you,
Right. Pause on that song. Pause on that one song.
Pause.
I want to say hi to some people that joined us. I want to say hi to Ebony. Yes. I want to say hi to Ayana in the UK. Ayana wanted to say hi to you. Yes, she wanted to see your face, so she's very excited to see your face right now.
I love you.
And then also Jeannie, we see you on IGTV. Love you, lady. But thank you guys that are popping in and saying hi and listening to some of this conversation. But yeah, so you were talking about this one song. You were laying out a fleece before the Lord before you're trying to make sort of this big decision. And then this song.
So this song, right? The song came on. He played the song. And it's a guest worship leader, right? Plays the song, and I'm like, it's still not. So I said to the Lord, okay, so there's like 40 minutes left in this set. So make this be the last song. And then I'll like know for sure, And he hit the final note, and then nothing happened. And then nothing happened for 45 minutes. And it wasn't like anybody did anything. No one moved. And it, except for like the silent noise of me crying, right? Like, yeah. Basically at the very end of that, he's like, I know that silence can be really uncomfortable, but sometimes just beyond the silence is the voice of God. And I was like, okay. Okay. Okay.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again, please?
I know that silence is uncomfortable, but sometimes just beyond the silence is the voice of God. I was like, all right, I'm out. I can't. I'm going to move here. I can feel it.
Hi, Kia.
Hi, friends who've joined.
Yes.
Anyway, long story short, I packed my bags and applied to come to Bethel's ministry school and moved my butt across the country.
Wow.
And drove.
Did you know anyone?
6 days. Oh, no.
Did you know anyone?
Not. Wow. No, not to one. But, we're here now. So.
Wow. I just want to encourage those of you. I mean, this is a time where everyone's sort of evaluating like next moves and next life moves. Like after this quarantine is over, what am I going to do with my life, or what am I really made for? And there's sort of all these ideas that are springing up. And I just kind of want to encourage you, for those that are especially watching this on replay, even weeks or months or even years later, that, wow, like God's got an adventure for you. Like he's got an adventure for you, and it's beyond what you could think. And I feel like Bethany, you mentioned some things in terms of like being exposed to something that you didn't even know existed, number one. And I love the kindness of God in that, because it's like, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like sometimes our hearts don't even know what we really want, and just like, I don't know what I'm made for. Yeah. Like, how did you even, like, do you just feel like it was completely the Lord that positioned you in that? Or you were kind of, my new phrase right now in the last couple of weeks is like being found in the field, kind of like Ruth, like found in the field of Boaz. And it was like, boom. And then blessing came, instead of just waiting for like Prince Charming or whoever, or the miracle just to land at her doorstep. She still was like, I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to take care of my mother-in-law, what have you. But there are those instances where God like really just completely covers you and completely opens your eyes up. Like, did that happen for you with this whole, like, because it was like bam, 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 or were you kind of in the field? Were you found in the field?
Well, so I think I was found in the field in the sense that, as a worship leader at my church, I was in pursuit of like training and equipping, and I went to the Rita Springer dive worship school. I think it was really early on. It was like 2009. But I went to that, and we did this thing called Prophetic Words, which I had no idea what that was at the time, and was really confused. And basically through somebody giving me a picture that they had felt like the Lord had given to them.
Okay.
They kind of, they basically said, you have this picture of God as like a horse in a training circle, and he's just trying to break you. And so you come to things like you are looking to be equipped, you're looking to be trained, and you're just running in this circle and circle and circle and circle. And the Lord's like, there is one, I am a father, which means I whisper to you tenderly. I don't yell at you. I don't break you. I lovingly talk to you, and we work through things. Number two, you think this is all you can do, but I have made an entire field for you to run in, and you're avoiding it because you know this, and you know how to go through the cycle of building and breaking, but you don't know what it is to run free. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm just in a room with 10 strangers and they're all like hearing this word, and so so I would say like literally in a field, but just, you know what I mean?
Wow.
It was a wild moment for me to kind of recognize that I didn't know this side of the Lord, and I also had been playing small.
You didn't know this side of God. You didn't know this side of the Lord, that he could be so kind and be so detailed.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the second thing you just said?
I didn't realize that I was playing small.
You didn't realize you were playing small. I'm sorry. That's like, for me, whoever is watching this on the replay, they're about to hit you up on the Instagram and just high five her. Just give her some love and encouragement after this, because that's a word, right, Ebony? Ebony, I see you. Ebony is giving all the hearts on Instagram for what all the things that you're saying.
Don't play small.
Like, she's yes and amening.
Come on.
What you're saying. That just kind of spoke to me right now. Can you, for our friends that may, they may be a Christian, but they don't know, like, what do you mean by when you say the prophetic? Like, what does that mean? Because you have like prophetic experience.
Totally. Yeah. So basically the prophetic is, so each of us has the ability to hear God's voice. Every single one of us as a Christian is a friend of God, is a child of God. Right. And we talk to our friends. And in the same way, God speaks to us. And sometimes he speaks to us for ourselves. Sometimes he speaks to us for other people. Sometimes he speaks to us for cities and nations and people that we've literally never met before. And sometimes it comes in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's words. Sometimes it's something that you know about somebody that maybe you wouldn't know otherwise, which is called a word of knowledge. And that's essentially, it's all meant to build up and exhort. It's all meant to encourage people, to show them that the Lord knows them intimately, that he cares about them deeply, and that he wants to be a part of the conversation of who they are, where they go, and how they impact the world. Because we're all made to impact the world. We're all influencers. It's just a matter of how you influence, right? So, the Lord really wants to be an active part of that conversation in the same way that, like, you talk to your friends, God wants to talk to you. That's what the prophetic is. It's really simple. And I think sometimes people, New King James it a little bit, thus saith the Lord. And I'm like,
New King James.
That's, but prophetic words are kind of like seeds. There's an invitation to plant them and water them and nurture them. And there's also an invitation to be like, they're not going to happen. And so I'm just going to put them on a shelf. And it's like, yeah, not like that. They probably won't.
Do you guys understand? Listen, you're blowing people's minds, and I knew you would. Is somebody getting ministered to right now on a Friday night? Because this is how she casually talks. Okay, this is what I'm just like. I'm ruined. I'm ruined for mediocre because of people like this in my life. This is why I'm crazy, because I see stuff like this. Maria is here.
Hi, Maria.
Yes, hi, honey. We love you.
I love the stuff you guys are doing, you and your husband. It's so beautiful.
She loves the stuff you're doing with your husband. It's so beautiful. I'm just so glad you could pop in. It's late for you guys on the East Coast, so thank you just for being with us. Oh my word. Yeah, you're sorry. You're just starting to like wreck my life right now in the best way.
Happy to.
Okay, casual. Okay, so real quick, for those that just jumped in or popping in on this conversation, this is one of my best friends who is just full of wisdom, as you can already tell, but she is a content strategist. Can you tell us what that means? But she's a content strategist at Bethel Church in Redding, California. She's been a part of pretty much full-time ministry, I'd say at least over a decade now. So she's seen the inner workings of little churches, big churches. She would be my worship leader. Ebony says, I am not okay. All caps, by the way.
You're going to be okay then.
I love you so much. But like Bethany would lead worship when we just met. What she didn't mention, she's so kind and so humble, and you won't catch her like tooting her own horn. But I mean, literally after less than a month of knowing me, she agreed to come down she was in Northern California. She agreed to come down to Southern California to be a part of this really small, when I say small, I mean, there might've been 8 kids, this small junior high school summer youth retreat to be our worship leader. And can I tell you, like, I'm going to try not to cry in this conversation. But like how the Lord, so like the presence of God got so thick and weighty with these kids, with these teenagers and them experiencing like the presence of God in worship. And of course, retreats are always special anyway, because you kind of get away and your sort of distractions, kind of like what we're all experiencing now, right? Distractions or other things that we would be occupied with are put to the side. And it's just, you kind of really see what's really important. And your worship, I mean, I was going to go in a different direction, but we're just going to go here. It's so sweet. And you have like, our people have already seen right now that you have a depth to you. Like you're just not surface. You're not like, you're beautiful, but like, y'all, she's so beautiful on the inside, like beyond. And that translates when she leads worship. And y'all, if you hang out for a little bit in this conversation for at least another 10 or 15 more minutes, you're going to get to have her sing over you guys, because I feel like we can't leave this internet space without blessing the people with something. And so anyhow, but how did you get into music? And I know you talked about your parents are both, musically inclined, but how did you get into music, and then specifically into worship music in church?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 1, I love you. Thanks for that. 2, worship music. So my parents were musicians. My parents recorded like a lot of albums, and my uncle was part of Peter, Paul and Mary, and so there's just kind of like this really deep origin point of specifically like music that spoke to important things, music that mattered, and that like addressed issues, but like spoke to your heart, like it, and so basically, growing up in a house where everybody's a musician means that there's just kind of stuff always lying around. There's always like pianos or an egg shaker or a, guitar, or this was just kind of the vibe.
Really deep. Sorry, that was feedback. Go ahead.
You're great. So basically growing up in that kind of situation, it's sort of like a natural byproduct that you just discover you also carry something on that. And I was encouraged to sing often and loud. And my dad would rope us into like Sunday specials. Remember Sunday specials? It's my favorite. Still love Sunday specials. Still think that's my favorite ever. But basically, we started doing music at church as a family, and my mom would sing harmony and my dad would play guitar, and my sister and I would sing. And that was like our vibe. And then my brother started to do the same, and, family band style kind of situation. Basically I became a worship leader because I was brought up in a culture where we were just a part of that community. Those were my aunts and uncles. Those were my godparents. Those were my people. I became a worship leader proper because, like most ministry things, someone has to play piano, and I taught myself how, because it was just like, we need somebody. So can you figure that out in the next 30 minutes? Thank you so much. Yeah. And so, so that's still how I play piano, which is very plunky, and I love it. Like, it's very simple and I'm into that. And, but yeah, I mean, I growing up played drums and played clarinet and played saxophone and sang in the choir, and then taught myself piano. So it was a really like diverse situation. A lot of good,
I love that.
A lot of good stretching.
I love that. Yeah. I didn't know you played the saxophone. This is like news to me. This is very exciting.
Yeah,
oh my
fun
gosh.
fact. So many fun facts. I almost played the oboe, but fortunately I got myself out of that one. So. I was like, double reeds, that's too much work.
Man. So she's definitely musically inclined, everyone. You're seeing her heritage, you're hearing about her heritage in music. So can you tell us, like, what is a content strategist? And like, what does that entail at Bethel?
For sure. So a content strategist is sort of like, how do I explain this? My primary responsibility is to protect the heart of the house, all of the language, all of the words that we choose, all of the bylines that we create, taglines, any sort of content that's going up. I'm looking at it and I'm editing it for grammar because I do very deeply love and appreciate grammar, but I'm also looking at it and asking, like, does this really convey what we want to convey? I see my job as, my mother taught me growing up that there's a holy space between a person's mouth and the listener's ears. And Say that again. Sorry. There's a holy space, a holy ground between the speaker's mouth and the listener's ear. Okay. So it's a really sacred space to protect. And what I see as my job is to remove any sort of barriers or boundary lines that might exist that would keep someone from hearing what is really being said. And so clarifying the message, how we say something matters. So I work pretty closely with our communications team, and I work really closely with our marketing team to make sure that, anything that we're saying is giving the heart to the matter. So, which, we're people like Donald Miller, who are pioneering things like story brand, and we are at our deepest point, we are storytellers. Sure. And we all have a very important story to be told, and there are mediums through which we tell them, and sometimes it's through art and music, and sometimes it's through acting. There's millions of mediums that one can communicate their story, but the most important thing we can do is facilitate that human to human connection. So most of my job is protecting and facilitating that human to human bridge. So that's what a content strategist is. Wow. And then I help us figure out how and when exactly to communicate whatever we're going to communicate, which is also really important. Strategy is one of my strengths. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm that person who really likes to sit and play like Stratego on a Friday night, a little geeky, and I don't care, but it really is, it's not just what you say. It's not just how you say it. It's also when you say it. And so really making sure that people hear what we intend to be hearing, so.
Yeah. How long have you worked at Bethel again?
I have worked at Bethel for almost 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Just want to give a shout out to a couple more people that have joined. Shauna, hello to you, my dear. We love you. Almost. Let me check. Sean Q, thank you for gracing us with your presence, Sean Q. Ayana, it was 3:30 a.m. her time in the UK, so she had to dip out, but she loved seeing your face. No, seriously. Ebony is still hanging in there with us.
Yay!
Gosh, Becca, you guys are just so kind, and I know you're getting some wisdom nuggets because, for real. So you were talking about the human connection, and how to foster that and how important that is, which actually is one of my questions, because, we're sort of in this time frame right now where we're really kind of evaluating what it means to really connect with another human being. How does that look like when we don't have our usual constructs of connecting with people? Can you talk to us a little bit about community and what, number one, define that, in define community for us, connection in that way, and then how can we cultivate that, especially in this climate, but then once we get out of this climate, how can we continue that?
That's a really solid question. So I would define community as the people that you build daily life with. I've sent you texts before where I've been like, hey, I'm just carrying you a little closer today.
Yep.
I sort of feel like I gather people into my world who are treasures. They're treasures to me. They're so important, and how they feel and experience the world is so important to me. And I kind of carry them around with me. When I see stuff in the store, I think about them and I'm like, oh, I bet, Patrice would love that. I bet Ben would really enjoy that. Like, I carry them with me. And so there are times, in life where I'm carrying them a little closer, or maybe they're, at a little bit more of a distance because life is just busy and full on. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really finding people that you can journey with, and not just through the hard stuff. As a person who loves depth, really good at like, these are my people and we go through hard things together. But I don't always like send that message that's like, oh, shoot, can you hear me? Am I good? Hello?
I can hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Can we see? Okay, great. It just did a little battery thing. So I was just like, oh, okay, hang on. But those are, the people that I invite into the fun things too. Those are the people who I celebrate with, but also like when things are hard, they're my people that I'm like, okay, something really bad just happened. And I need to feel like you're in this with me. I need to feel like you're carrying me too. Can you just hold me close a little bit in this? So to me, that's what community is. And community exists in spheres as well. Like there's spaces, there's your people who are like, these are my ride or die people. These are like, it's always going to be, we'll be 85 years old sitting on our porches laughing about stuff. And then there's people who are outside of that. And that's just really about having boundaries and knowing kind of where everybody lives in proportion to you, which, I mean, to be honest, that's been a journey for me personally, because I want everybody to be really close. Because I love that deep bit. Yeah. And I've had to learn how to go, okay, so you're there. I'd love it for you to be here, but that's okay. Like, I respect your choices as well as my own. And so yeah. But building community looks to me like being intentional with people. It looks like that random text message or that Marco Polo. Thank God we live in the time of Marco Polo. It looks like involving people in the little parts of your life that count to you, and knowing them. I don't know if you want to talk about this at any point, but like as a 2, I'm an Enneagram 2. Google that.
You're going to tell the people in a second. That was part of my question.
I figured. Okay. But part of the 2 is the helper. Helpers care most about relationships, most about where are you in proportion to me? How are we connecting right now? So I spend a lot of personal thought time just thinking about like the people that I love and just being so thankful for them and the beauty of who they are. As for building it in this time, I think does look like accessing all of the fabulous technological resources. Netflix just did a thing where they're releasing like Netflix Party. And so you can watch movies at the same time with other people and you can talk about it while you're watching, which I'm like, rock and roll. Okay. That's amazing.
Okay.
And there's a few other platforms who are doing that. Actually, Facebook has a like watch party thing that you can do as well with like a chat dialogue on the side. And like, totally. It's incredible. I think that's so cool. But when we're out of this time, technology can't replace like even just the pure chemical responses that we have when we sit and look at another person, specifically looking at someone in the eyes.
Science. She brought out the science, everybody. It's
vulnerable, right? Okay. It's very good though, right? It's vulnerable to look someone in the eyes for longer than 20 seconds. This is like, it's hard for us to do. But the thing is that's actually what encourages us to foster connection chemically with each other. Like, I know you, I see you.
That's deep.
Right? So when we're out of this time of, introvert paradise, it is an opportunity for us to really re-engage with the physical elements of our worlds that really help us to belong to each other, because we really do. Societally, we belong to each other, right? Like what I do impacts you, whether I see it right away. Right. We do. We belong to each other, all of us. But there's an invitation to steward that well, right? And so there's going to be people that you just steward that better with, because those are your people, and that's good. Your people are good.
Dang, guys, I there's so many different nuggets that you can pull from this. But what one of the big takeaways that I'm getting is being intentional when it comes to community. And I think too, it involves having an awareness of who you're connecting with, like who your people are, because like you said, we are not necessarily connecting the same on every level with every person, even though we want to, especially, a lot of us, we love that depth and we want to experience that in all of our friendships across the board, but also having wisdom and knowing like who are your people, and especially in this season, because I think sometimes it's seasonal as well. And so maybe who was with you in a previous season might not be with you in the next, but but being intentional. And man, what you're saying, there's something to be said with looking at someone eye to eye, eye to eye. Hi, Instagram family. Eye to eye in person though, for more than 20 seconds and being vulnerable in that way. I mean, there's a different chemical reaction that happens actually within us. It's science. Bethany told us it's science, everyone. And we're made for that, like we're made for that. So,
well, okay. And one thing I would actually add to that whole conversation is, at the end of the day, life is about your choices, right? So it really does matter that you just say yes. Like you make your choice to show up or not. So if community isn't happening for you, and I'm saying this as a person who literally had to just learn this lesson. If community is not happening for you, it might be that you're not wanting to happen to it. And like, maybe it's time to just step out and be a little brave and ask people. I'm Italian, right? So my space, this is my wheelhouse, right? My wheelhouse is come over to my house. I'm going to cook you dinner like all day long. It's loud. There's going to be wine. There will be lots of really good food. But like, I know how to build community around a dinner table.
Sure.
So if community is not happening for me, how long has it been since I've invited people to my dinner table? How long has it been since I've reached out and pursued and not just waited for somebody to come after me and be my friend?
That part, pursuing also and not just waiting, being found in the field.
Come on.
Ooh, okay, this is going to be rapid fire.
Go.
You're doing great. This is almost already like 45 minutes. Can you believe it? We're going to have, for those that have stuck in for this whole thing, I mean, Ebony, I see you, girl. Let me give some shout outs to people again that have just, man, Ayana, again, I know you're good nighting it, but you're going to probably catch some of this on the replay. And so we love you so much.
Love you.
Max, hello, Max. Sean, again, Becca, and Shauna hopped over from Instagram and came over to Facebook to see your face as well, Bethany. And so Shauna.
Hi, Shauna.
Yes, we love you, Shauna. If you guys have any questions about worship, Bethel, being encouraged, anything, put them in the comments, and I will definitely ask your question if it's not crazy. But yeah, I will definitely ask your question. We have just about roughly 10 or more minutes more that we're going to go on this interview. And so tell me, what makes you happiest? Bethany, what makes you happiest?
What makes me happiest? Okay, so that's actually a really good seasonal question for me. I think one is always going to be laying on the floor and listening to music, and like worship music, and also just like I attach memories to music. So it was like a weird quirk, but I make a playlist for every single month, and I've done this since like 2013. So my Spotify account literally has a monthly playlist since 2013. What? And I attach memories to those. And so I'll listen to a particular song and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that moment. I was doing this thing. This was going on. And so sometimes I'll just like kick my way through a really important month in my life and I'll just listen to it and kind of remember and reflect and think about like, wow, that was really hard, or wow, I really saw God's goodness in that, or wow, I really grew from that time, and just kind of like take account. So I think it will always come down to just laying on the floor and being alone in that space with myself and with the Lord and like reflecting. So that definitely makes me very happy. But I would also say that in this season of life, my husband and I just moved into, Ben and I just moved into a new house that we worked really hard to build together. And he worked really, really, really hard. But we went from a 600-ish square foot space to like an 1800-ish square foot space. And
Wow.
so what makes me happiest right now is that we pulled a really cozy chair into his office, and I sit in the back of the room and I read my books, and he works on real estate stuff, and 'cause he's a realtor. And he like talks to friends and plays games and does different things. And we just hang out in the same room. And that's where we spend a lot of our time together, is just this like tiny, maybe 200 square foot ish room, maybe smaller. I don't know. I'm not good with that part of the math. But that's what we do. We just do our thing in the same space. And that makes me super happy.
Listen, that's my dream. I recently saw a quote somewhere, and not recently, it's probably a couple months back, where it was like, it's almost like a hashtag singles be like quote, but it was like, I want to be alone together in the same room with someone, or together. Oh wait, I want to be together alone with someone, something like that. I'm mixing it up. But basically what you described is like, you said you love being in the same space as your husband. You guys are doing your own separate things, but you're in close proximity, and that's just giving you life. Just get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. I want to give a shout out to Ebony. Ebony says, I have no questions, and yet she's giving all the answers. Thank you both so much. Shout out to Kuma. Hey, what's up, homie? I'm just getting ready to wrap up slowly this Facebook Live that I'm doing. You can catch the full interview on Facebook Live. But yeah, and again, thank you all for chiming in. Gosh, I love that so much, Bethany, especially as someone who, like, you and I are both introverts, and that doesn't mean we're shy. How do you break that down for people? Like, what does that mean? And you're married, but you're an introvert. So
yeah, for sure. Okay. So introverts just recharge by themselves. So everybody recharges in a particular way. Some people recharge by being around other people. That gives them energy. And some people recharge by being by themselves and having quiet space to think and listen to music and read books and do whatever, but just to feel a space that you kind of can just be with yourself and just enjoy. So yeah, my husband is an extrovert. He loves being around people. It like is his jam. Yes. And I'm an introvert. And so both of us being powerful in the conversation and saying like, hey, I actually need some time to myself. I love you so much. And him saying, okay, well, I need to go hang out with people. It's just, know yourself, right? Know yourself. That's the tagline.
Know yourself. Again, wisdom nuggets. Ebony says she needs that Spotify playlist. So once we're done with this interview, for real, Bethany, can you leave a link in the comment section of this video once we wrap up tonight? So
to my Spotify account. Yeah.
To her Spotify account, because she does a new playlist every month. So that's incredible. This is a complete departure, but I'm going to be interviewing a painter next week. He's an oil painter, and he's a believer. And when he paints, it's like a prophetic thing as well, but not just that. I mean, he recently finished a trip in Paris, and when you see like his artwork, for me personally, it speaks to me just like the vibrancy of it and just his style. But then I caught some of his videos on YouTube, and he was playing like some worship music and painting at the same time. And I almost fell out in my room. The presence like of the Lord was getting so thick. And so I was like,
so real.
You really know God. Like, he's had some encounters with the Lord, but I'm curious, like, what do you think is a good question that I should ask him? Because I will. And you can give me an idea.
Oh man. Gosh. Okay, like a flood of questions in my mind.
I know. Same.
I think I would love to know, like, now this is just because I'm a words person, but like, do words detract for you from your experience? Like, do words pull you away from what you feel like is happening for you, or do words pull you deeper in? Like what's the weight of words for you? I would also ask, like, who are the artists that, like, do you find there's patterns in like the artists that you interact with, like that you hear? Like, so I paint to Hillsong, and I end up using a lot more red, or, you know what I mean? Like, are there particular patterns that you notice in the way that you create? Yeah.
That's good. Oh my gosh. Okay.
My first
one. I need you on this when it happens live. Just if you're not busy with your husband or you're doing things, I want all your questions too. Hey, Chris.
Okay.
Ebony. So real quick, this is sort of my last question before I want you to kind of share your vocals with us, but can you explain a little bit of the Enneagram? I asked Aaron, who I interviewed earlier, you know, like, do you know your Enneagram number? And he'd never heard of it. And a lot of people have never heard of the Enneagram. So you were the first person that introduced me to this years ago. And now I hear it everywhere in certain Christian circles. But can you give us like a layman's understanding of what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Enneagram is essentially like a really old, people call it a personality test. It is not a personality test. Just gonna clarify that.
Okay, I said that. I think I said that the other day.
No, you're good. You're okay. I totally get it. It's essentially, it's a tool to help you understand ways that you may have chosen to adapt to some of the situations that you might encounter through life. So the concept is that there are 9 different masks, right, that people could choose to, ways that we try to sort of protect ourselves.
Okay.
And, you know, based on whatever kind of situation we grew up in, or, you know, a moment that really mattered in our lives, we might make a choice to either, you know, like grow up really fast, or pretend like everything's okay, or and it's not necessarily a trauma thing. It's more so just kind of each of us have a little bit of a predisposition towards a particular way of going about the world. So like I mentioned earlier that I'm a 2. So a 2 is a helper. But a 2's struggle point is that they very earnestly believe that their love is the best love, and that everybody needs their love, and they are rescuers essentially, right? Like, I believe that I can love you better than you can love you, and like I'm going to tell you what you need, and there's no help in that, right? Like, but that's, you know, that's the 2's way of what they really need. The 2 really needs is to know that they are loved, not for what they can do, but for who they are. And, you know, in each of these particular areas has a particular message that they kind of were told, which is, you know, for the 2, it's, you know, if you are good and you don't have any needs and you take care of everybody, then you'll be loved, which is not true, right? Like that's just not accurate. So each number has kind of a message. You know, Ben, my husband, is an 8, and the message for Ben is you are safe to be vulnerable. You don't have to protect yourself. You can be vulnerable. And that's just, you know, ultimately though, like the Enneagram is meant to be in the same way as like Myers-Briggs or DISC or any of these like helpful personality resources. We all kind of are on this quest to know who we are, right? Like that's why we do things like, you know, the Instagram quizzes they've been coming out with, and like, who's better at this? And who's, you know, we all want to know this.
Absolutely, about ourselves.
We're like fabulously multifaceted. That's who we are as the human race. God made us that way, and it's wonderful. But the Enneagram is a really helpful tool, a helpful resource to sort of help you to hold a mirror up and ask yourself some really valuable questions, and to learn and grow as a person in ways that maybe you might be holding yourself back from being who you really are, or maybe you're playing small, or maybe you're hiding, or maybe you're being bigger than you really want to be. You know, whatever it is, it's sort of a tool to help you sort of strip back that mask and say, you know, what I really need is to feel loved. What I really need is to feel belonging. I really need, you know, Brene Brown says that we're hardwired for love and belonging. You know, it's like, that's really who we are. And there are lots of ways where we've just internalized messages that say, well, but if I do this, then I'll be loved, or then I can belong, or then I'm good enough, or, you know, but the reality is that we're all really, really okay right where we are. And God loves us exactly where we are. And the Enneagram's an invitation to sort of hold a mirror a little bit closer and grow in that. And it's a super helpful tool. Very, very helpful.
Awesome, man. You and your words, you're just so fabulous and articulate. And I just feel like I'm smarter now because we had this conversation. I don't know about all y'all that got to listen in on our conversation. It was kind of fun interviewing you because I mean, I know you, but it's fun like introducing you to people that would have never known like the storehouse of wisdom and kindness that you are. And so that's actually what I'm most excited about, for people to discover you. For those who don't know, this is Bethany Mossburg-Jennings, and she is one of my best friends, but she also is an incredible thought leader. She's a content strategist at Bethel Church in Redding, California. She's been a part of that family up there for over 7 years, or saying over 7 years, right? Because you've been on staff, you've been working there for 7 years. Yeah. And then she's also one of my favorite worship singers, worship artists that I know. And so, Bethany, I don't know, what's a song that is kind of speaking to you in this season that you can share with us and maybe just sing over us tonight, a verse of something?
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a song. I'm actually going to look at the lyrics because I don't want to mess it up and do it a disservice. So hold on one second. Okay. But it's a song called Come Alive by Hillsong. Okay. And it is, wow, it is like, can I just like read you the lyrics really quick?
Yeah.
Like not all of them, but just like the ones that are really hitting hard. Yeah. So the chorus is come alive, dry bones. Come alive, dry bones. Awake, arise, and hail the light. Come alive, come alive. But the second verse is the one that just gets me. It says, are you waiting on heaven or is it waiting on you? For the Holy Ghost is already in the room. So you better get ready, because who knows what he'll do. Where the four winds blow, there's a breakthrough breaking through. It's like, whoo. Yeah. Is he waiting on you?
I think I started sweating right now. I think I just started sweating.
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'd say that's probably like one of the ones that I walk around my house and I sing that really, really loud.
Yeah, come on.
So yeah. So I'd say that's probably the one.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite.
I'm ready.
Okay. Sorry, my voice is a little crackly. Allergies, not corona.
Allergies, not
allergies.
Not
Everybody's got to qualify it now. So, come alive, come alive, come alive, dry. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Awake, arise, and hail the light. Come alive, come alive. I'm gonna sing to you, dry bones, until you're covered in light, and the valleys bloom like rosebuds in the light. Oh, hear the call to attention, feel the change in the air. For the ground is dry, but the clouds are overhead. Oh, I'll prophesy again. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Awake, arise, and hail the light. Come alive, come alive, come alive, alive. Get up and rise, rise. Oh, now sing it again. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Awake, rise, and hail the light. Come alive, come alive.
My eyes are sweating a little bit. No worries. Wow. Yeah. Oof. Shauna says, yes, girl, #come alive. Yeah, that kind of like set the atmosphere around me. I just felt like, I don't know about y'all, but I just felt like peace, just the sense of peace just got deposited, just where I'm at. And so I'm praying that that's happened to you whenever you're watching this, whenever you're listening to this, that you feel just covered in the peace of God. That's powerful, Bethany. So the last question that I am asking guests now is, what's on your current playlist, which you kind of shared with singing this, but give us maybe 2 other songs that are on your current playlist in this season. Any day.
Okay. Well, I got to pull up the whole list now, you know.
Also, Mandy says she's got chills. Very thankful for these words right now. Your words that you sang over us. I know I am.
Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Okay, playlist.
Yeah.
So
wait, let me preface.
Let
me preface. I always go to Bethany for like the best new music. She always will send me like the best, because you guys know I'm like, I love my music of all genres, by the way. Y'all know I country line dance as well as like R&B as well as worship music. But I just keep thinking of like Kevin. Is it Kevin Garrett? Wait,
Kevin Garrett.
Yeah. If y'all don't know, like
my boy. He's from Pittsburgh.
Music.
Oh,
Kevin Garrett. She introduced me to that. But so again, who should we know about that we don't know about that's on your playlist? You can give us worship songs as well as just these indie artists that you know about, because she knows.
Oh yeah. Okay. So hold on. Just give me 1 sec. Did it do it? Am I good? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry. That was just the 10% low bad. Okay, so Bianca Rose, who actually was recommended to me by Ayana in England. She has a single out, Blood in the Water. Woo! Woo! Like, my girl, that is some magic you have in your voice. I'm
interviewing her soon, by the way. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Nuts.
Oh man, that is a good choice. That was a good choice on your part. I've been listening to Jeremy Riddle's new album is very good. It's a worship album. It's all live. And he has a cover of Tremble that he sings. And that is like, there's some real fire on that. Okay. I have been listening to a guy named Charlie Simpson a lot. He's also from England and just very good. Ben Rector is one of my go-to guys. Ben I've been listening to Extraordinary Magic a lot. That's the song my husband and I danced to at our wedding. And it's just a very beautiful, sweet song. And then let's see, the other artists I would suggest, Hillsong Worship, their latest album. There's 2 songs on there. So there's Come Alive. And then there's a song called Awake My Soul.
Awake My Soul. Okay.
That's a Brooke Ligertwood song, Awake My Soul.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Brooke Ligert.
Oh my God. I mean, who needs to say any more? Like, oh, it's Brooke. Done. And we're out.
Yeah, we're out.
So those would be my recommends right now.
Okay.
Also, one last one, sorry.
Yeah.
Just because it is so good. There's this guy named John Lucas who has a song called Stained Glass.
John Lucas, Stained Glass.
Yeah, and it's literally like
a little bit.
Yeah. Bye. But that song is like, it's literally about like, when you look at the stranger, you behold the face of God. That's what the song's about. That's the song. Like, it's literally like, we all hold the face of God. This choir just sings, we all hold the face of God over and over again. Let the light come in. Let the light come in. They sing over and over again. I'm like, all right. So that's on my repeat in the morning, first thing. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Bethany, I mean, you and I can talk for like 4 hours straight, but we did talk for 1 hour on this Facebook Live.
That's good. We did good.
And this was all, you guys might have noticed some like technical things that you're seeing on the screen where you're seeing like where it says recording on the top or whatever. Basically, I had to do a makeshift recording and do some back like
real MacGyver work right there.
Real MacGyver work to get this interview up to you guys. But thank you for just being patient. Thank you for those that chimed in with your encouragement. Mostly, I felt like everyone was really just soaking up your words of wisdom and just really listening to every word that you said. And so is there anything in closing, Bethany, that you want to say? Anything closing?
I think I would just say, like, in moments like this where we're all sort of invited to partner with fear and maybe feel a little unsure or alone or a little scared, there's also an invitation for peace, and there's an invitation for hope and for vision for what the future is going to hold. And I do believe it is a brighter tomorrow. And so I would just say, like, if you're feeling any sort of like fear or if you've been struggling and maybe not holding on to peace, like, I just bless you with peace, that there's grace for this day and there's grace for the next day, and that grace doesn't run out. And and we are all going to be better on the other side of this together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say in this present moment.
That's so good. You guys, she's inviting us, or we are honestly, I think, being invited by God in this moment to, like, an invitation to peace still stands in the midst of all the chaos and the fear that might try to arise. And so I couldn't have said it better myself. So, wow. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Shauna also says, thank you. #needed, #peace. To what you just said.
Take it.
That's, I knew you'd come with the wisdom nuggets, but I just didn't know it would just be like rapid fire for you. Just like, pew, 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 pew. Okay. Yes. So anyway, guys, this has been Bethany wow. I've never said your name like that in all my life. Wow. Wow. Bethany Mossburg. What is happening to me? Sorry, everyone. It's Patrice's bedtime. But this has been Bethany Mossburg-Jennings, and you can find her. Where can people find you, by the way, if they want to internet stalk you and reach out?
I'm on Instagram. My my handle is bmoss @bmoss, BMOSS. Okay. And I'm also on Facebook, so you can friend me personally.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, you guys, I am going to now try to gracefully end this Facebook Live. It might be a little clunky. This landing might be a little clunky, but we're safe and sound. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, I'll have another interview for you guys next week. And like I said, with an artist, this time I'm going to use Bethany's questions. Can't wait to interview this guy, man. And also Bianca will be coming up in the week, most likely the week after, which is, I'm so excited about as well. Mostly that. I love you so much, Bethany. Thank you for taking the time. Stay on the video. I'm just going to end the live for us all.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, you guys. Is it ending? I think so.
I can check. Do you want me to go on Facebook real quick and see?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to your page. Oh, yeah, it says that you were live and that the video will be available soon.
Okay.
So, looks like it's all done.
Okay. Oh boy. This is wild.
Okay,
so this is like the after hours. For those that get to see this part, you get some extra. I'm gonna just go back on IG Live and oh, that was fast. Everyone went night after like 8:30. It was like,
they were like, bye.
It was fine.
It's been a big week, team. It's been a big week. Team human race. Wow. It's been a big one.
This is a big one. Do you need any toilet paper or water or what's up?
Oh no, we're actually so solid. We're good.
It's interestingly enough, people that are like living not in the heart of the city, everyone is kind of like, we're chilling. Like we're just chilling. Yeah. But when you're in like really heavy metropolitan areas, it's stressing people out, which I can understand.
Like pure chaos. Yeah, it's real chaos.
No,
I get that. I fully get that. I do feel a little shielded from it in a way, and I am kind of like, yeah, probably I need to be more vocal about like, hey y'all, I know this is really scary.
I know.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. No,
we're gonna make it.
People are losing their minds right now. Hey, Mandy, this is my interview after hours. I only stay on for about 5 minutes afterwards, and we just act silly, and you get to hear some of the behind the scenes. But I'm gonna end this recording now. So again, if you're watching, I don't know where you're watching this or listening to this, but thank you, and go find Bethany and get her to get this album together for us here in 2021 or sometime. We need it.
Me and Coldplay dropping new fresh beats.
Okay.